I was a monster. No, I was the machine that created monsters. My name is Jin Park. I was a senior analyst at the National Security Bureau's Internal Inspection Division. People didn't know what I did. Not my family, not my friends, not even colleagues in the same building. I managed a list of 127 names. A death list. At first, I thought it was just a job, classifying and evaluating individuals who might threaten national security, assigning grades, writing reports, submitting them upward. That was all, or at least, that's what I wanted to believe. Grade A, Grade B, Grade C, Grade D. A single letter determined someone's fate. Comrade, have you completed this quarter's list review? My superior's voice was always cold and dry. Yes, 14 require grade adjustments. Additional grades? 3. Good. Report by tomorrow morning. He turned pages without looking up. I went to work every day. Underground level 3, an office without windows. Passing through 3 iron doors, 2 security checks, sitting at my desk. On my computer screen, 127 names appeared. High-ranking officials, military commanders, scholars, diplomats, even the supreme leader's closest aides. My job was simple: analyze their movements, statements, connections, family relationships, past records, and quantify their threat level. Over 80 points meant grade A. Grade A meant immediate elimination. I wasn't ignorant of what that meant. I just didn't want to acknowledge it. I was loyal to the regime. Or believed I was. Born in this country, educated by this country. I swore oaths before the supreme leader's portrait, sang the party songs. Comrade Jin Park is the shield of our nation. The minister patted my shoulder on appointment day. The future of our nation rests in your hands. I was proud. I felt chosen. But over time, I began to sense something was wrong. People on the list started disappearing one by one. No official announcements. Just suddenly, their names were never mentioned again. Where did Drive Choi go? I once asked a colleague. Ignorance is bliss. He put his finger to his lips. Our job is just managing the list. What happens after isn't our concern. I nodded, but every night, I had nightmares. The names I typed turned to blood, dripping down the screen. Then that day came, November 17, 2024. A day I'll never forget. Urgent list update. An order from above. I opened the file, and froze. The name on screen. Professor Kong Minsu. My mentor. The man who changed my life. In university, I was lost. No future, no dreams. Then Professor Kong pulled me back. Jinho, you can do this. You're special. He lent me books, found scholarships, wrote recommendation letters. I got this far because of Professor Kong. And now, his name appeared on my screen. Grade A. Threat level 87. Action immediate. No, I muttered. My hands trembled. Something was wrong. Professor Kong had no interest in politics. Just a quiet scholar researching physics. Why? Why him? Comrade Jin Park, confirmed? My superior's voice came through the phone. Yes, confirmed. No problems? I bit my lip. None. It was a lie. There was a problem. A massive problem. I couldn't go home that night. I stayed in the office, digging through past records. I had to know why Professor Kong was on the list. And I found it. 3 weeks ago, a presentation at an international conference. Science must transcend borders. One sentence. That was all. That one sentence made him grade A. Put him on the death list. I stared at the screen. 127 names glowed. Then I realized, this wasn't security. This was power, fear, control. I'd been a cog in a killing machine. This is wrong. I spoke to myself. This is completely wrong. But what could I do? What could I change alone? The next day, a bigger shock came. Full list review directive. We were summoned to the conference room. Expand current a grade from 27 to 45 people. Upgrade B grade personnel as well. What's the criteria? Someone asked. The supreme leader's will. That was the answer. There were no criteria, just an order to fill quotas. Complete within 1 week. That afternoon, I made my decision. To escape. It was insane. Escaping this country meant death. If caught, 3 generations would be executed. But staying was also death. Death of conscience. Death of soul. I made a plan. First, copy the entire list. I needed evidence. The world needed to know. Office computers had USB ports blocked. But I had authority. November 23, 3 a.m. I was alone in the office. In my hand, 116 gigabytes USB. My heart felt like exploding. Now, I entered the security override code. Beep. Authentication complete. I inserted the USB. File copying started. 1%, 5%, 12%. Time moved too slowly. Footsteps in the corridor. Damn. I covered the screen with my jacket. 45%, 63%, 87%. The doorknob turned. Still working? Night security. Yes, finishing up. I tried to appear calm. Keep it up. He closed the door. 98%, 100%. Copy complete. I pulled out the USB, hiding it in my sock. 127 names. 127 pieces of evidence. Now I had to cross the border. An opportunity came. Northern Border Inspection assignment. A week later, I boarded a military truck. 8 hours to the border. Scenery flashed past the window. Barren fields, watchtowers, barbed wire. I'll cross there. I mapped it in my mind. Just one river to freedom. But that river had mines. Searchlights operating 24 hours. November 30th, 11 p.m. I left the quarters. 1 backpack, 1 USB, 1 resolution. 2 hours on foot to the border. In darkness, I walked. Snow crunched underfoot. 15 below zero. My breath rose white. Searchlight beams appeared in the distance. My heart pounded. No turning back now. I muttered. Barbed wire appeared. 3 meters high. Thorned wire fence. I put on gloves and climbed. Ripping sounds. My jacket tore. My palms bled. But I couldn't stop. Over the fence. Now the river. Thin ice had formed. I have to go in. I stripped and entered the water. Cold pierced my bones. I couldn't breathe. Limbs stiffening. Move, move. I swam across. 10 meters, 20 meters, 30 meters. Then, who's there? Searchlight caught me. Gunfire. Bang, bang. Water sprayed. Damn. I dove underwater. Lungs felt like bursting. Surfaced again. The bank appeared. 5 meters, 3 meters, 1 meter. I grabbed the bank. My whole body shook. Body temperature plummeting. Get up. You have to get up. I stood. Sirens behind me. Pursuit team coming. I ran into the forest. Thorns scratched my face. I fell. Got up. Ran again. How long did I run? Dogs barking. Getting closer. No. I hid behind a tree. 2 military dogs sniffing, approaching. This way. Soldiers' voices. I ran again. A cliff appeared. Below, a deep valley. Flashlight beams approached from behind. Nowhere left to go. I closed my eyes and jumped. When I came to, I was buried in snow. My arm felt broken, but I was alive. USB. I fumbled in my pocket. Fortunately, the USB was intact. I stood up, kept walking. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Over mountains and more mountains. Chewing roots, melting snow to drink. Hallucinations started. Jinho. Professor Kang's voice. A little more, just a little more. I staggered forward. And finally, I crossed the border. Third country soil. Help me. I collapsed. When I opened my eyes, I was in a hospital bed. You're awake. A man sat in a chair. I'm with the International Human Rights Investigation Team. I nodded. Can you speak? Yes. I handed over the USB. What is this? Evidence. Of what? Massacre. The investigator's face hardened. It contains a list of 127 names. The death list I personally managed. The next day, a press conference was held. Camera flashes exploded. Mr. Jin Park, why did you decide to escape? Conscience. Do you regret it? Every day. But if I'd stayed, I'd regret it more. When the list was released, the world was shocked. Names of high officials, purge plans, elimination methods, everything revealed. This is a genocidal plan. International community erupted. The UN called an emergency meeting. Sanctions were discussed, but that country remained silent. I don't know what happened to Professor Kong. I'm free now. New name, new country. But there's no real freedom. Every night, nightmares. 127 names chase me. You killed us. They whisper. You made the list. I wake up, drenched in cold sweat. I'm sorry. Truly sorry. I mutter. Atonement will never end. But I can't stop. I continue testifying. At universities, human rights organizations, before the press. I was a monster, I say. But the system created the monster. And I escaped that system. Some call me a hero. But I know, I'm no hero. Just a surviving accomplice. An accomplice carrying the weight of 127 names forever. But now I know, speaking is better than silence. Being a living witness is better than being a dead martyr. Today I tell the story. My story. Our story. And someday, I believe spring will come to that land too. When barbed wire falls, lists burn, people breathe freely. Until that day, I won't stop. Testifying, atoning, hoping. This is my story. Jin Park. No, that name doesn't matter anymore. What matters is truth, and truth is never buried. Never.